Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into, well, a really fascinating journey. One that definitely didn't follow a straight line, you know?
Hmm.
It's a personal and professional path, kind of crisscrossing countries and academic fields. And it's all based on source material you, our listener, shared with us.
Yeah, the source is an interview you shared by Shiji, and it features someone known as New Pi. It basically traces his steps from high school right up to landing his very first job.
Right. And like you said, this is not your typical go to college, get a degree, find a job story at all.
No, not really.
It involves unexpected turns, different countries, some real challenges. So our mission today is kind of pull out the essential wisdom from this unique experience, the key insights that might resonate with any of us trying to navigate, well, the sometimes messy process of figuring things out.
Definitely. And he gives us a couple of hints early on, doesn't he?
He does. Just to give you a sense of the perspective, NewPie shares two core ideas. Usu, treat others with sincerity, and date more, don't be afraid of rejection.
Right, which kind of signals straight away this isn't going to be a conventional tale.
Exactly. So where does it start? His background seems pretty key.
Yeah, what's really striking is how his early environment kind of set the stage. Nupai went to an international high school in Beijing. It followed the IB program, which meant, the intense pressure of the Chinese Gaokao. That was off the table for him.
Oh, okay. ID program.
Yeah.
And the student body was really diverse.
Incredibly diverse, yeah.
Yeah.
He mentioned not many Chinese passport holders, but students from all over the U.S., Canada, Hong Kong, you name it.
Wow.
And crucially, the school was just completely set up to handle international university applications, like SATs and essays for the U.S. or just transcripts for Canada. They knew the drill.
Right. That kind of exposure to multiple systems, multiple paths, that must have been, well, pretty formative early on.
Absolutely. And you can see how that environment directly influenced his initial university choice. See, Nupai is a U.S. citizen, but his parents are Canadian. And his parents saw Canadian universities as essentially good value for money.
Right, compared to the U.S. prices.
Exactly, especially compared to the much higher cost of U.S. schools. So his list of U.S. applications was actually quite short. Only schools they felt were, quote, worthwhile enough to justify that price difference.
Interesting. And yet he got into a U.S. school, a popular one apparently, but chose Canada anyway.
He did. And he says the economics were, like, secondary. His main reason, he was focused on the 4-year living experience, the overall environment for those years, not just the school's, its popularity or prestige factor.
That's already a different way of thinking about it, isn't it? Weighing the experience over just the name.
Totally. But here's where the path takes its first, well, significant bend.
Okay.
By the end of his freshman year in Canada, he wasn't happy. And he emphasizes it wasn't necessarily the school itself, but more a feeling of mismatch. Like his personal emotional development at 18, it just didn't align with the environment he was in at that moment.
Okay, wait. So he's a year into college, realizes it's not the right fit for him personally right then, and he decides to do what? That's a big realization.
It is. He took a leave of absence, as he put it, for his whole sophomore year. He actually returned to Beijing to experience society and work.
Wow. That is a bold move. Just hitting pause like that, stepping off the conveyor belt.
It really is.
So where did that year off lead him? Did he go back to Canada?
No, it led him to transfer for his junior and senior years to a U.S. university.
Oh, okay.
And interestingly, it wasn't one he'd even considered back in high school.
Huh. So looking back at this whole period, high school, Canada, the year off, then the U.S., how does he describe it?
He calls it a little volatile.
Volatile, yeah, I can see that.
Involving a lot of movement, different places, a mix of, active choices he made and things just sort of happening to him. Passive choices, too.
What can we learn from that early part, do you think, for someone listening?
I think it really shows how important it is to pay attention to that internal feeling, that sense of fit. Even if it means taking a detour, maybe a scary one.
That really resonates. It's not just about getting in somewhere, is it? It's about whether it works for you when you're actually there. Okay, let's switch gears slightly, because his academic choices.
Wow. Math and philosophy.
Yeah, fascinating combo.
How did he land on that?
Well, he says the interdisciplinary option at his Canadian university helped make it possible. They had this thing.
Cross-disciplinary. Okay.
So math was kind of the easy choice. He'd always liked it, always done well in it.
Okay. Math makes sense, practical, leads lots of places.
Yeah.
But philosophy, that feels, less conventional. especially paired with math. What was the thinking?
Yeah, and this is where his unique perspective really comes in again. He chose philosophy for its breadth. He said he wanted an open horizon in college, not deep specialization in one narrow thing right away.
An open horizon. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ruled out things like, say, culture-specific studies, wasn't super confident in English lit, sought history more as an elective maybe? Process of elimination, partly?
Right. But there was more to it, wasn't there? He had a specific, almost strategic reason for picking philosophy with math.
Precisely. This is really interesting. He believed that having a math and philosophy background would serve as a social map.
A topic, like a conversation starter.
Exactly, a conversation starter. His hope was maybe it might help him attract interesting people, almost like a form of intellectual networking, even if it wasn't the most direct route to a job in, say, finance or tech.
That's a fascinating insight for you listening. It's not just picking majors for a job, is it? It's picking them because they shape how you think and maybe who you can connect with.
Yeah, totally.
So what exactly does undergrad philosophy cover in North America, based on his experience? Is it all Plato and Kant?
He described it as pretty broad, actually, rather than super deep in any one area. It touches on things like ancient philosophy, sure, but also philosophy of science. He noted the historical links there to math, physics, astronomy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And political philosophy, ethics, epistemology, that's the theory of knowledge, logic, of course, and philosophy of religion. It's a really wide intellectual landscape.
Okay, so you've got this non-linear path, geographically, personally, then this unique academic blend, quantitative, abstract thinking. How did all that translate when he actually hit the job market after graduation?
Well, that led to the next major hurdle. And it was a tough
The
one.
job search. Give us the picture. How did it go?
He admits he didn't really have a mature or refined plan, didn't really know what he wanted to do.
Okay. Common enough.
His approach was what he calls scattering flowers like a goddess, basically just applying everywhere. Bradley.
Scattergun approach. Yeah.
He said he applied to hundreds, maybe thousands of companies, interviewed with over 30,
30 interviews. Okay, so things were happening.
and received 0 offers.
0, seriously, after 30 plus interviews.
0. And this was primarily in the U.S., remember, where he's a citizen. So visa issues weren't the problem.
Wow. That must have been incredibly demoralizing.
Oh, absolutely. Crushing, I imagine.
That just underscores how tough the job market can be, doesn't it? Even with a good degree,
Yeah.
citizenship, everything. So how did he finally break through? How did he get that first job?
Well, this is where his, let's say, unconventional definition of network really comes into play. He got his first job in Shanghai, eventually, through his network.
Okay, through his network. But he's specific about what that means, right? It wasn't like adding randoms on LinkedIn or going to those awkward mixers.
No, not at all. He's very clear about that. For NewPie, network is built organically. It's built by doing good work, like really good work, in every professional context you find yourself in.
Okay.
It's about being sincere and genuine with colleagues, actually trying to help others out. He uses this phrase, HU. It basically means strong people, or maybe like-minded, capable people, naturally gravitate towards each other. His philosophy is, you focus on doing good work yourself, understand how others do good work, be reliable, be helpful, and genuine connections just form. People will want to collaborate with you or help you out down the line.
That really flips the script on that sort of transactional networking idea, doesn't it? It's about building real relationships based on mutual respect, contribution over time.
Exactly. Much deeper.
So how did this play out? How did this approach lead to the Shanghai job after the U.S. search failed?
Well, the opportunity came up because contacts he had made during that year off in Beijing.
The detour year.
Yes, people he'd worked with or met then who had since moved on to other companies. They made introductions for him in Shanghai. And this led to less formal interview processes, apparently, more conversational. He sees this, looking back, as ultimately becoming his only choice through what he called shoryan, like elimination by fate or circumstance. It was the one door that opened.
That is powerful. So the network built through genuine interaction during an unexpected detour, that ended up being the key after the whole conventional job search thing yielded nothing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So looking back at this whole winding road, high school, the Canada, Beijing, U.S. shuffle, the 0 offer job hunt, finally landing in Shanghai, how does NewPie feel about it all now?
He says he feels very fortunate and very thankful, grateful for the rich and, frankly, interesting opportunities that arose precisely because of this nonlinear path.
Yeah, you wouldn't trade the story, right? And when he's asked about his plan through all this, what was the master strategy?
He just boils it down to those two simple ideas we started with almost.
A equal and
Right.
wow.
Sincerity and attracts like. Yeah. Focus on doing the work well, interacting with others sincerely, helping them out. He insists there wasn't some complex grand strategy beyond that basic philosophy.
Which brings us right back around to those initial quotes. And that leads to his advice, right? What specific advice does he offer his younger self based on this whole experience?
It's pretty striking advice, actually. His repeated, really emphatic advice is, date more?
Date more.
Yes. And tied directly to that, took buzz. Don't be afraid of rejection.
Don't be afraid of rejection.
And he explicitly applies this idea, this fearlessness about rejection, not just to dating, but to life in general. So presumably, applying for those jobs, trying new things, taking those unconventional turns like the year off, it's all connected.
Wow. Okay. Date more, don't fear rejection. That's probably not the career advice most people expect to hear.
Definitely not standard HR advice.
But, in the context of his journey, facing setbacks, taking those bold detours, building a network through sincerity, not being afraid to step off the path. It actually makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's about putting yourself out there authentically in all areas of life and not letting that fear of failure or rejection or things not working out perfectly stop you from trying.
Exactly. And if we kind of connect this back to the bigger picture for you listening,
Yeah.
Nupai's story is just, it's a masterclass in navigating uncertainty, I think. It really highlights how focusing on your personal values like sincerity, doing good work, and your attitude towards challenges, towards stress, how that can ultimately shape your opportunities, even when things seem tough. And his definition of networking, it just pushes beyond the superficial, doesn't it? Emphasizing that genuine human connection built over time through real interactions.
Yeah, it's about substance.
Right. And his path is really a testament to the long-term value of embracing diverse experiences, even setbacks, understanding that maybe the most valuable opportunities might arise from the least expected places, or from connections you made during those detours you didn't plan.
It's such a powerful reminder, isn't it, that the right path isn't always the straightest one. And sometimes the most interesting, the most rewarding opportunities, they come from embracing those volatile periods and those unconventional combinations. Thank you, our listener, for bringing this incredibly insightful source material forward. Really fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. And maybe this leaves us with a question for you to think about. Based on Nupai's journey, he advises don't be afraid of rejection in life broadly. So what area of your life right now are you maybe holding back in because of that fear? Could be big, could be small. Or thinking about his focus on sincerity and doing good work, how does your personal definition of network compare to his? Is it more transactional or is it closer to his idea of juice? Perhaps rethinking that could open up some unexpected doors for you too.